We want everybody to be able to have property rights and do what they want to with the property, but we really would like to see this succeed. And to succeed, we need to wait a little bit. So that's kind of the dilemma in a nutshell. By the way, that's equivalent to about 40 St. Regis hotels. To give you a little bit of perspective, that's pretty hard to build up there. So most likely what happens, what this means is, we probably don't reach this type of a level, but it means we don't fund everything here. That's what it means. And so some of these things just won't be assisted. They still have to be built by the developers. We're not building them, but they won't get rebates for them all. And so we want you all to be realistic about this and realistically understand where the money is and what's going to happen with it. And we are trying to encourage everybody to be able to develop. We're not trying to stop anybody, but it's very important that we play the game that's being played. Now, the next thing we're going to go to is the county's concern is, I've already dried out my marker. To do this, we need a new code. We cannot modify the existing RSPA code enough because it was developer motivated, developer controlled, and had different priorities that the county didn't control. We can't modify that enough to meet the needs of what we need to do for MIDA. So we have a proposal now to have a new code developed. And I'm going to turn the time over to our planner, Doug Smith, and he's going to talk about this new code. We're looking to incorporate a lot of the RSPA components into this, but we have to incorporate it into something. As you can see, the complexity of us coming up with priority lists and things like that, it's much harder for us, and this new code needs to address part of that. So go ahead, Doug.
We have a few new folks here. I know most of you are long-standing. Doug is our county planner now. We have Craig here, who works in the attorney's office with development. We have Ray Whitchurch. Ray, I don't know if everyone knows you. Ray is our consultant helping with this process of writing the code. But in this code, we have Dan Matthews. I asked him to join us up here in front. Dan is the manager for the Jordanelle Special Services. As we develop this, it all takes new infrastructure. That's who Bob's talking about, the water provider, sewer provider, whatnot. It'll be the Jordanelle Special Service District. David, I didn't recognize you earlier. Thank you for being here. And I did see Paul after leaving. But David represents the Air Force here. Did I miss anyone else? Mike? Sorry to interrupt. Doug, go ahead.
We had a much quainter meeting back before Thanksgiving. We met with many of the stakeholders and property owners in the RSPA area.
Can I speak up? I don't think I can hear you. Sure I can. Stand up and speak.
Okay. Right before Thanksgiving, we had a meeting with a lot of the stakeholders, and I used the same list to send out emails. Got a huge response, much greater than what we had back in November. But at that time, we talked about some of the issues that we had with the RSPA and the updates and that type of thing. And we threw out the potential of having a moratorium on the code. And went to the council, and the council decided, no, we don't want to have a moratorium. So like Mike said, we still have the JBOZ in place, we still have the RSPA in place, and people can develop, they just can't develop under the MIDA tax increment. So IBI, who's a planning firm, architectural firm in Salt Lake City, they originally wrote the RSPA back in 2002. And like Mike was emphasizing, there's been a lot of changes since 2002 with Deer Valley and with MIDA and the Air Force. So what we did is we've asked IBI and Ray Whitchurch, who wrote the original code in 2002, to provide us a scope of work for the updates and changes that need to be made to the RSPA. This is a condensed version of the 10-page scope of work that Ray submitted. And just to go through some of these really quick, What we would need to do first on that first bullet point is to determine the obsolete aspects of the RSPA, conflicts with other ordinances, issues with the JSSD, and understand existing development agreements and meet the property owners. So that's all written into the proposal. There are agreements that have been made over the years. There's vested density rights. If you've seen what was initially submitted with the RSPA, there are books and books of exhibits and references to ERU numbers and densities on various pieces of property. And there are parts of the RSPA that are obsolete. With the ski plan coming online, we need to update all those plans and village areas to reflect that. Number two, determine if the JVOZ is redundant within the RSPA MIDA area. That map that we talked about with the purple and the yellow boundaries, we've actually got 3 zones in that area. It's very confusing because you've got the mountain zone, that's the base zone, you've got the JVOZ, and you've got the RSPA. So people can potentially develop under 3 different zones. In the RSPA area, it's been discussed that maybe we just do away with the JVOZ because the RSPA has a lot of the control and the quality that we're looking for in that area. And the JVOZ has been in place since 1997 and it's served well. In that area, I think we want a higher quality, we want Deer Valley quality. So that'll need to be discussed. Number 3, determine if Title 16 references in the RSPA need to be incorporated into the RSPA. The RSPA has never been a standalone document. It's referred in a number of areas to Title 16, which is our land use code. So it'll say parking stalls as required in Title 16, and we have to go to Title 16 to determine the number of parking required. In a resort area, it may be appropriate to say where we're going to have mixed use or shared parking. The resort closes at 4, and the restaurant's got its maximum amount of parking needed after 4. So they may be different. You may need to incorporate a lot of those parts of Title 16 into the JVOZ, or the RSPA, sorry.
The new code.
The new code.
We won't call it RSPA, that's too confusing. It'll be something else. We'll call it Deer Valley Code.
Let's see, the next one, divide RSPA area into districts that reflects the common infrastructure goals of the east and west sides. So that west side, as has been discussed, we're going to focus on skiing and the Deer Valley infrastructure. The east side, there's Portal Parkway, there's golf, and lake access, and all those things. And the whole RSPA area is intended to be a 4-season development, so it really needs to work well together and have connections and interact well. Refinement on densities, parking areas, building heights, villages, and land use zones. With Deer Valley and their day user ski parking areas, the whole parking area the whole parking plan will probably need to be looked at again. Traffic counts, levels of service of the roads, that type of thing. And that gets into the next one, the transportation and regulatory assessment and future needs evaluation, capacity of existing roads, triggers for future connections and future needed roads, base gear parking and access. So when is the portal needed? What's the capacity of the frontage road as far as levels of service? And then the last one, and again this is abbreviated, the last one is updated framework plan showing major streets, ski amenities plan, base areas, trails, and open space. You can see from some of these slides, this is the original ski plan. They will all need to be reconciled with the Deer Valley plan. Initially there were lists shown coming over Highway 40 and these types of things, but it will all need to be according to what Deer Valley has in their plan. This is a parking plan. just to show an example of some of the updates that need to be made for structured parking in certain areas, surface parking in certain areas, and where to put that and how it ends up. Any questions? Ray, do you have anything that I've left out?
Excellent job.
Okay, you left out an important part. We don't have money to pay for it. This is a significant process. It will take some money. We do not have any money budgeted to do this. So we are inviting any of the property owners that want to participate and pay for this to come forward. You know, we'll do it when we can, but under the caveat, we won't implement MIDA until we get this done. So it's a little bit up to you guys.
Mike, what's your cost? What's your estimated cost?
Around 50,000 total. It's not a lot.
Will the new RSPA document reflect the old RSPA document, whatever you choose to call the new RSPA document, where it's mandatory review by third parties other than the county?
No.
Okay.
That's the difference. We're taking control of the. Now there will be some control over meeting Deer Valley standards that we're concerned about.
Sure.
But the review is going to be under the county. That's a big difference because we're doing this differently.
Are you talking the review committee, Rory, and Hal was constructed?
Yeah, because you almost,
Probably a good word.
well, you added another layer of government in there, and that was a concern, I know, to me and to others, so.
Okay.
There probably will be a review committee,
It will be comprised.
but, and it may include some entities, but the county's got the say on this. Flat down, that's it, the county's got the say.
Okay, all right.
And that's important for us. Yeah.
Mike, when you made the statement the county won't move forward with MIDA or provide any tax rebates, are you talking the county control area or the MIDA control area?
We only have say in the county control area. We don't have any say in the MIDA control area, none whatsoever. So, it is what it is. That was signed away. But we can't, because now the MIDA has gone forward and come up with a development standard. They did utilize our RSPA for the development guidelines. So they are implementing that, or have implemented that, and that's in place. So theoretically, on any of the MIDA control area properties, that could be happening right now, as far as I understand it. But on the county side, until we have our code in place, our new code, we can't really allow development under MIDA until that happens, because we've got to have that all in place, and we have